Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Wounded to Wonderful Talk Show, and I'm your host, Edna White, your life purpose coach. And this is your destination to have real talk about real things to be empowered in your life. Today's guest is Francia Noble, and she is going to introduce herself, and we'll get the party started.
Get the party started. How is everyone? Hey, Miss Edna, how are you? I'm always so excited when I'm hanging out with you. I have to take a deep breath and just I'll be transparent with the listeners and go, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, but I'm always ready to party.
She knows what she's doing. All I can say. She's an expert. Don't worry about that. She's an expert. I'm telling you.
I don't know about all that. I just know that anytime Edna calls or sends an email and says, hey, I've got you scheduled to come in and talk about this, I'm all on board. But as she says, my name is Francia Noble. I am your faith-based mental health coach, and I use scriptural doctrine with the latest coaching and psychological techniques to help facilitate, educate, empower, and transform your life. So welcome aboard. Put your seatbelt on because we are ready to take you for a ride.
All right, for sure. And you hear what she says. She empowers, educates. And that's the most important thing. She empowers and educates faith-based. So if you need that coaching, she's the lady, expert.
I'm the lady. I'm the lady.
The lady.
I'm the lady.
Today's subject is beauty. I want to say that the topic is new ways to think about it. But beauty, is it really skin deep? Maybe. So we'll talk about that. Maybe. So we know that the industry of beauty is a big money maker. You know, hair, makeup, clothing, shoes, lipstick, eyeliner, lashes, extra hair. We know all of that. We know it's a money maker.
Yeah.
Beauty in the eyes of the camera of the world. We want to break that down. So I'm going to give place for Francia to talk about that because I'm always talking and I need to hear from the expert.
You are not always talking. You know, it's funny that you bring that up because I was just on another virtual, everything's virtual these days.
Yes.
On Friday evening with a wonderful group of ladies. I'm kind of doing some networking, girlfriends night kind of party. We had, our glasses of whatever. Everyone had their own little, things going on. But it was, and one of the speakers for the evening talked about this very thing, about the idea of beauty. And she actually has a cosmetics line that she's involved with. And it's a line that is really devoted to women of color. Not just African-American women, but all women of color, in a more natural sense. And when I say that, I mean one that is free from all of the chemicals and the additives and all of those harsh things that we don't necessarily think about when we're striving to be the diva of it all. Yes. We just want to look good, right? Yes. We want the latest style, the latest colors, whatever that is. We just want to look good for the selfie, right? But she really took it to a different level as she started talking about understanding what the impact of all of those different chemicals are internally. Right. And I was like, wow. And I knew that. It wasn't that I didn't know about those things, but the way she kind of explained it and began breaking it down, even for the disparity against our sisters, our Caucasian sisters versus, us women of color, how cosmetic companies really don't think about us when they are manufacturing their products in terms of safety and our overall health. And even when we are having those issues with our physical or biological health, even doctors aren't thinking about, well, what products are you using on your skin? Because our skin is, we wear it 24/7. It's this blanket that we have on us, 365.
Right.
It absorbs everything that we put on it. And we don't really think about that so much.
Right.
And so when you said, is it really more than just skin deep? Yeah, it is now. It
And you know,
It is now.
it is now. And I have a friend who's not not a vegan, but is it a vegan? No, not a vegetarian. He's a vegan. Okay.
Okay.
And no meat, no products, nothing like that. Not even soap. He even buys vegan clothing.
Wow.
He explained to me that the products sometimes they use, animals to test it on, and some of the products come from animals. And I'm going, it just didn't click to me. I was like, why would somebody do that to an animal? Like, why would somebody put lipstick on an animal and then it just dawned on me, it goes on your body. So they want to make sure that whatever they're adding doesn't affect you.
Exactly.
Wow. That really got me upset. I was like, oh, wow. It made me think wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. And then when he was telling me he was buying vegan clothing, I'm like, what? I'm like,
that's a new one for me. I will admit that's a new one for me.
That's a new one for me. Like he said, no cotton, because that comes from an animal. And I'm like, well, what material? What material?
Exactly.
And I couldn't even grasp it. But he told me something, I forget what it was, but his shoes were made all non-vegan, no leather base, no nothing. And it was made out of this plastic that was reused from other plastic. And I'm like,
wow.
So, and the shoes look really nice. And he bought sneakers and I'm going, wow. So he's so very conscious of that. It makes you think now that about beauty, is it really skin deep? Like we talk about deodorant. We talk about that all the time. Deodorant, we can't do that.
Yes.
And I remember when that first came out and I couldn't read what the ingredients were and I was kind of scared. And I was young. I was telling my mom, this scares me. I can't say it. I can't say it. And she was like, my mom was like, okay, let's look it up. And we looked it up and it was like this thing that we had no idea about. And she said, I don't know if you're old enough to be having this on your body. So it even being young, you're conscious about those things. Beauty is not skin deep because once it goes into your body, the aluminum,
it's there.
It's there. And my friend, one of my friend's sisters, she had an adverse reaction from it, and it clogged all of her. What are those things? Those things under your armpits.
The lymph nodes.
Lymph
glands, or in that area.
Her arm swole up. It was like gigantic. Her arm was swollen because of lymph nodes. She had to have them removed. No deal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's very serious.
It can be, absolutely. And we don't think about it. We take it for granted because it's a product that we should be using on a daily basis.
So we say.
that for the majority of that we are using on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. It's part of our, we've been taught it's part of our normal hygiene.
Right.
It's how we care. It's how we cleanse our bodies. It's how we care for our bodies. And so we don't question whether or not it really, in the past, because we know that things are certainly changing. Right. And I give my kudos to all of my sisters who are out there developing products just for this purpose. Yes. Because I don't think if it wasn't for them, mm-hmm. I don't know that we would begin to see such a shift in the market.
Absolutely.
And a demand for products that are chemical free, as least as possible. Right. Because it's a moneymaker. These companies are in billions. They're in the business to make money. So if I can make it as cheaply as possible by adding all these other things that are bad, I'm not going to change it. Why would I change it?
Right.
But I'm glad that somewhere along the line somebody said, you know what, we're having reactions to all of these things because. Mm-hmm. Why can't we develop products for, that are healthier for us and that still allow us to bring out our natural beauty? Right. And that's where I am at this stage of my life. That is certainly where I am. So I don't know.
At this stage, listen.
At this stage,
I told my friend, I said, listen, I'm single. So I was like, listen, if a man don't like me for what I am, I'm not putting on no heels. That ain't happening because I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm not. I'm not in it to win it like that, you know? And I'm not wearing no skirt that I have to keep pulling down. I'm not doing that. I'm in the comfortable mode. You take me as you see me. I'm not going to be ugly. I'm not going to, disproportion myself. I'm going to be presentable, but I'm not
Absolutely.
my way to be uncomfortable. That I'm
Right.
impressed.
And don't get me wrong, I'm right there with you. I'm single too, and I have been for quite some time. And it's funny that you bring that up because I don't even know how the conversation got brought up. But my daughter and I, we were somewhere a couple of weeks ago, and she says, "Mom, just promise me something." And I went, "What?" Because we weren't, having this conversation. I'm like, "What? What's wrong? Just promise me when I leave that you'll put yourself back out there." And I'm like,
yeah, my
thinking,
daughter said the same thing.
like, did I stop at some point? And I had to, and honestly, I had to admit to myself that I actually did, because I was so focused on raising my kids and getting them out of the house and being fully attentive to them.
Right.
And now I'm like you, I'm too busy. We just got through talking about how busy we are and all the things we have going on. So if you get me out of the house on a date, sir, yeah, you gotta understand this is what I'm coming with. Sure. I don't know.
The heels are not part of the decor.
And they could be. They could be.
Right.
But to say that in today's climate that I'm going to show up with a full glam face underneath a mask, probably not.
Probably. It's not something that is even feasible,
No.
And that brings us to the second part of this. During the pandemic, beauty wasn't thought about. We couldn't get to it if we didn't have it at home or get it delivered. You know what I'm saying? So beauty wasn't like in the headlight, normally it is. It's like everything is like, you got to have the most, newest lipstick or the newest eyelashes, or I even saw, and I saw this one time before, those eyelashes that kind of clip on with magnets. I'm like, what is
yes, I've seen that too, and I'm like, who does that?
I'm not too much.
I'm like, it's too much. Why am I going to stand there? I don't have time to stand in the mirror and clip on my eyelash. It's too much.
Listen, and
but
then,
you're right.
Listen, and then I worry about taking them off and seeing,
and then I got to take them off.
No, I gotta see while I'm talking to you. That you gotta have like this, like shades, like I just don't,
I don't understand. I don't understand where I struggle with understanding who told us that this was beauty. Who told us that putting on, lashes that curled back up to your forehead was a symbol of beauty.
Yeah, and what was wrong with us to believe that?
Right.
And
maybe that's the deeper question. Even something as simple as our fingernails. Yes, I love a great manicure, absolutely, but I don't need 3-inch stiletto coffin pointed nails with rhinestones on every single nail to think that my hands look great. If they look great, but they still feel like the bottom that I've been busting concrete, as my kids say all day long, there's a problem with that.
Right. We were talking about that today, and I was saying how, like, in my coaching with some people, I have to go black. I have to go, listen, your priorities are wrong. When your hair is long and you got to weave in nails and you haven't taken care of your teeth and you got one tooth, there's something wrong.
There's something wrong. Yes.
There's something wrong. All of you need to be taken care of. And we've gotten, I think, the brokenness that's hollow, because when you're broken, that never fills until you acknowledge it.
Right.
Get ready to heal it. You're on healing it. So that has never been dealt with. And thus the clip-on magnet earrings, eyelashes. I don't have anything against when someone does wear them, but there's an uncomfortability. You see that people are uncomfortable. I know they have those dresses, I forget what they're called, but they have that material, and you see people just ooching down their dress all the time. just keep ooching.
When they have what they call it, spandex in it, and
I have
to
a
allow
problem.
it to stretch and move.
I have a problem with that. If you're not,
Absolutely.
you have to be comfortable in your own skin. That's beauty is comfortability in your own skin.
In your own skin.
In your own skin.
And you know what? And I will admit that it took a long time for me to get there as well. Because again, even as a young child, I think a Southern belle of always being in the spotlight of doing things. There was this idea of what I was supposed to look like according to, what my mother and all of those other beautiful women in my life thought that we were supposed to look like and be presented as.
Right.
So even as going into adulthood, it took me a long time to get the idea behind, okay, I don't have to do all of that and still be who I am.
Right.
And I think when you and I can probably relate, when you start coaching or when you learn that about yourself and you start dropping all those excess things, is when you truly begin to start walking in your purpose as an individual.
It's
because it allows you to grow beyond this little box that we've put ourselves into and see so much more of what we're capable of becoming. And that falls back into what we look like and into our idea of beauty as well. My hair is like super short. And I did the big chop for a completely different reason than just thinking I wanted a big chop. Right. It was because I was going through a stressful time and thought I wanted to put some color in it, trying to be cute. And I went to a stylist, put some color in it. And guess what? Because I was having some stress nerve issues, it broke off in one spot. Right. Guess what? I had to chop it off.
Yeah.
I had to do the chop. So it was no more creamy crack, to straighten it every 2 weeks. It became this state of natural. And I had to learn how. I'm like, oh my God, this is who I am.
Right.
And I fell in love with myself all over again.
I remember when I did the big chop, I was one to have a different hairstyle every year. I would go to a stylist, get it done.
Yep.
Because I get it done. That was my hairstyle for the year. Then I'd be like, oh, I don't want that. Let's go and do another. Yep. So my last hairdo was, I went to a stylist who's my bestie, and she saw something in Sassoon, and my hair was always black, real black. And so she gave me some blue highlights, and it was like a mohawk. And it was,
oh my gosh.
Okay, it was straight. And I looked at one morning, I got up, it was August 1st. I remember the date. And I looked at it and I was like, who the hell? I went like this in the mirror and I said, because I was uncomfortable, and I started counting how many hairdos I've had according to fashion, according to the beauty industry, how many from the time I started and I was like, wow, I've had so many personalities. I don't even know who I am. So I called my nephew over, who's a barber. I said, come over, I want you to do number one. And he was like, what? So he ran over because he was like, something must be wrong with Auntie.
What was wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
He said, what's the matter? I said, where's your buzzers? Do number one. He said, do you realize you just...
Are you sure?
And he kept saying, you sure? I said, please. And when I did the number one and he shaped it up, I felt like I got goosebumps from it. And I felt it and I said, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I gotta grasp this. And I was like, I got a little bump in the back here, and my head's long this way. And I began to embrace myself. It was the most liberating feeling. And I know you probably felt that, even though you were feeling it for another reason. The liberation in it is like, wow. But here's the thing. It's not easy to maintain short either.
No.
Told us that. I believe the hype.
No.
Short hair is just as much work as
because even when it was permed and it was short, because again, there was my daughter, I used to leave work because my stylist was literally about 1.5 miles from my office. And I would go on my lunch hour and get if it was just a wash and set kind of week, I would literally leave work on my lunch hour and go get my hair done. And I would come back to work and they would be like, did you go get your hair done? Yep. Gotta get it. Gotta keep it straight. Yep, I did. And
That's
my daughter would like, and I would go home and my daughter like, did you get your hair cut again? Yeah, I did.
and I think I think our spiritual leaders kind of ingrained that in us, that this was our crown and it was supposed to look nice and it was supposed to be like fantabulous, fantastic,
Yes.
not
Yes.
just regular, fantabulous,
Fantabulous. This is your crown. Yes.
Yeah, and it was my crown, and that had to be like outstanding, not like anybody else. And I was like, wait a minute, even at the number one, my head is not the same as your head, and I was like, wow, I didn't even get that. And I was, from just that one cut, made me say, you know what? Beauty is not skin deep. It affects your spirit.
Yes, it does.
Soul.
Yes, it does.
It affects your body, everything. Everything. So beauty goes beyond what we think it should be. It goes beyond all of that. Even just coming down to hearing, like when you get old, how you what's that word? When you get over the hill, you gotta start dressing better, changing the way you are because you're over the hill at 50. And I'm saying, I didn't never felt like I was running up a hill at first of all. So I didn't understand the concept over the hill. So I guess that means you going down real fast. But I was like, I never felt that. But it gave me the connotation. I started going in the mirror going like, oh, am I really, you start doing all of this crazy stuff, now
Right.
At that age, it's okay, we got to get Botox. We start thinking like that. We can't get wrinkles. We start thinking like that. Now beauty is taking on another shape at another time. It was different when we was 20s, 30s, 40s. Now we're 50. It's a whole different
ball game.
Yeah, yes, it's a whole different thing.
But but the good thing is that, and I'll admit I'm over the hill, and I'm like you. I'm like I'm not racing down it for any reason. And hopefully I don't look like I'm over the hill.
I don't know what it look like, so don't
because I don't know what it's supposed to look like. And even with that, it was probably only been like last year that I've truly just stopped coloring the gray.
Right.
And just embracing, and saying, you know what, just let it grow in. It's hair. Who cares?
Right.
It's hair.
Right.
As I get it cut and trimmed and kept up now, nice and neat,
right.
It looks good. I'm cute. I think I'm cute, whether you think I am or not. Let's move on.
Right.
It is what it is.
Just bring a fish to fry.
Absolutely. I have other issues to deal with.
Yes.
You know what? If that's your biggest concern with me and my gray hair, so be it.
Right.
You know what? So be it. If that's the only qualm you have with me, absolutely. I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
And again, it once again gives you that sense of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're not concerned about it anymore.
Right.
Because now you can release yourself to embrace other things, to do other things, yes. To say, you know what, I'm okay with where I am right now. Right. Life is good.
Right.
And I know that sounds crazy. Yeah. People are like, okay, but it's gray hair. I don't like that. But it's just hair.
Right.
What if you were one of these women who suffered from severe alopecia and you had bald spots and had no hair? What would you do then?
Right.
How would you feel about yourself then?
Right.
And I know that's a harsh comparison, but in the grand scheme of things, whether or not I've got 2 gray hairs or 50 gray hairs, really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's not.
Does it change who I am? Does it change who I am as a person? Right. No. Does not change who I am.
That's maturity in beauty. We make in the level of beauty that beauty is not skin deep, but ugliness is to the bone.
It's to the bone.
So the ugly attitudes, the ugly demeanor, how you judge people, that's to the bone.
That's to the bone.
That's really to the bone. And we have to be very careful of that because, I know I'm not going to say we're over the hill. We as mature women, we see beauty differently. We can actually give another woman a compliment. You look really nice today.
Yep.
How many times prior to this have you seen another woman, you walk down the hallway, another woman look at you, give you the up and down and walk straight past you, and you're on like this close and say nothing.
Oh, even still, I mean, what do you mean before now? I mean, still. What do you mean before now? Even with a mask on, and you're like, okay, why are you doing? I mean, girlfriend, what's wrong with you?
Doing extra.
It's like, I mean, you know, even in the grocery store, we laugh about it all the time because I live out in the suburbs. And it's funny to me, you know, down here, you know, I know where you are, and you know where I am, so we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
But anybody who Googles me will figure out where I live. But I live in the suburbs. And it's funny to me how I can go in the grocery store and someone will do that to me in the grocery store and not speak.
Right.
Oh, darn, you just nearly undressed me.
Totally.
And you can't even say hello.
Redressed me. You undressed me and redressed me. Yo, she don't look good. Go all the way down and put some more stuff on me. You just did all of that. Now say hello.
Now say hello. But you can't.
Can't.
Or not that you can't, but you don't.
Right. And that's that ugly, that's the ugly to the bone.
To the bone. That's the ugly to the bone.
To the bone. And it, you know, I make it my business. One of the things that I do is I make my business to greet people before they greet me.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I don't want, because I know Edna. Edna will be like, you do that to me, I do the right to you and stand right in the frozen. No matter how big you are, little you are, froze motion. No matter how many people I'll look just like this and freeze.
Oh, see, I'm getting better. The mature Francia has gotten better. Let me tell you, because
Edna, look, I never used to do that. I'd be like, you know, I cower, and now like, okay, you looking me up and down. I'm gonna look you up and down. Yes, and then they'll laugh. They're like, why do you do it? Because like you looked at me. I just want to know what is it that you would like me to wear, and they'd be like, what? And I was like, that's what you're doing. You're going up and down, say, oh, she'll look good in that. Maybe she'll look good in that. You already put me in another suit. So, you know, where am I going shopping?
Where am I going to shop? Where can I find it? Is it hanging in your closet?
You put on me, you know.
Is it hanging in your closet, or do we need to go out and find it somewhere? Because I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to look like.
It's true. And you know what? Even you brought up a thing, even having the mask on, people know by your eyes that you're smiling. They
absolutely.
You're a great, you know, you're in a great mood. Yep. And you don't even have to show your smile by your eyes, and they'll say hello. Just your presence of your the beauty that shines outwardly.
You brought that up and about speaking to people. I was out somewhere and I just happened to be on the phone with one of my girlfriends, and I got to the register to check out, and the cashier was there, and she spoke to me, and I said, oh, hello, Susan, or whatever her name was.
Right.
And so my girlfriend like, do you know her? And I'm like, no, who? Wait, the person, the cashier. And I'm like,
I do the same thing.
I'm like, no. She's like, well, you were talking to her like you knew her. And I'm like, here's what I don't know what that lady is going through.
Right.
And she doesn't know what I'm going through. I don't know what kind of day she's had, and vice versa. The only thing I know that maybe me saying hello to her may make a difference in her day. I don't know.
Right.
I just know from my days way back when I worked retail, what would happen to me in the course of my day. Yes. And how I would be treated. Yes. So if somebody now, if I come across someone who's wearing their name on a badge, absolutely, what harm is it for me to greet them by their name?
For their name.
They haven't done anything to me. Now if you get listening and get this, if I recognize the person before me was a little snarky, I'm being nice.
Right.
Was a little challenging.
Yes.
And here I come right behind them.
Right.
Well, let me help smooth over this situation, because guess what? I don't want you throwing my stuff down the belt.
Right.
I don't want you being rude to me.
Because of them. Right.
Not because of them, because it's quite easy for you to take that out on the next person. Sure. So now I've diffused that whole scenario just by acknowledging what your name is.
Right. And that's the beauty in you. It's because
and she was like, you know what? I never thought of it. She's Francia, I never thought of it that way. She
Right.
said, you taught me something today. I've never thought about it that way.
Right. And see, we forget. See, the beauty about people who mature and understand and have that empathetic and that intuition thing going on and want to grow as a person in general, they will remember when I was in a position like that, I sure wanted to hear my name because everybody was like calling, and it was. So I really wanted to hear Edna, like who said that?
Who said that?
Yeah. Who said that? My name? You really want to hear your name. You really want to be personalized. People forget that in our daily lives as we move up levels.
Yes, we do.
And we start manhandling people. I've seen numerous people go into, stores and literally they'll see a shirt and they'll pick it up and didn't even want it and not try to fold it back. And I'm like that all the time. Look, I tell my grandkids, if you're going to pick up something, don't make a mess of the display because there are people that are working that have to do this. I feel so, heavy when Christmas comes, all the holidays, and
oh gosh,
look so horrible. I feel my heart goes out to them. I was like, oh my goodness, who's going to clear up this mess? But when you don't have beauty, and beauty is nothing but love, it really is love. When you don't have,
isn't there a song that has that lyric in it? That has that line.
I don't know.
Love. I don't know. Something just started playing in my head. I don't know.
I was thinking about that the song, the beauty is skin deep. It's a soul song. My mom used to listen to it. I can't remember it now, but I'll remember later on probably. But it is love. It's love. And you have to learn about love. You say that you love people. You can say it.
Yes.
You fall down, but if your actions don't display that, that means you're just saying it to say, "Oh, I love you."
Just saying it to say. And what have we learned? That love really is an action word.
It is.
It's not a noun. It's a verb.
Not a noun.
It requires action.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can tell me all day long that you love me, but if you're not showing me, if there's no action behind it, it means nothing.
No, it means nothing.
It means nothing.
And that's what beauty comes from, is the inside out. It has nothing to do.
I agree.
Inside in.
Yeah.
The outside will never meet the inside. It's like garnishing your Christmas tree. Think about that. A Christmas tree only lasts for how much time? 30 days at most?
At most. Just depends.
So you're garnishing it, you're putting all these garnishing on it, and guess what? As the garnishes are on there, they're staying in place.
They're in place, but the tree is drying up.
So that's how I feel about myself. Like, if I garnish the whole outside and not care for it, see, a lot of what we do for ourselves that are beauty oriented in the fashion world is things that don't care for us. Like, we'll go back to eyelashes. I had them on one time. My friend wanted me to put them on, so I went to Brooklyn with her. And girl, I could not see. It was summertime, and I kept saying, I can't see. Like, I literally like I had to turn my head. It was bad. And it was bad. No, it was really bad. I had it for a week, and I said, I can't do this no more. I don't know if they look good because I look weird. And I kept looking at myself, and I said, no, I don't think I look good. And these things are sitting up in my eyes like they're like a whole nother thing.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Now, as I pulled them off, the glue started affecting me, and my ducts got swollen.
Oh no.
And I said, what's in this glue? Now, I should have asked prior what was in the glue. I was allergic to it, and the ducts in my eyes, I had to get I had to go to the ophthalmologist to get this stuff, and said that the glue, whatever was in the glue, it went into my ducts. And I was like, oh my goodness, could you imagine? Never again. So I say all of this, we just like take on the fads. We got to be very careful. Our bodies are made to be self-healing. They're made, Scripturally, sister, what did it say? We are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Wonderfully made. Yes, ma'am.
So we don't need any extra. We
don't need all the extra.
We need to take care of what's here.
Of what's here. And our bodies are what? Temples?
Temples. And it's better than a tree. I tell you that.
Hello.
So if we, you know, no matter what we're working with, no matter, you know, if, you know, there's all shapes and sizes, all different colors, no matter what we're working with, it's beautiful because it was created.
It was created.
It was not manufactured.
No. Well, and you know, and I think, and you know, you say created, and people, you know, I'm sure that there would be people who would challenge that and say, well, what about people who haven't taken the best care of their physical bodies and they're overweight or they're this or they're that? And you know what? And there's some truth to that, because there are choices that we make.
That's it.
That hinders that physical body. Mm-hmm. But we can also make choices that can bring that physical body back into what it's supposed to be.
That's right.
It takes some work. But anything worth having does take some work. Even creating that inner beauty, learning how to love, it takes work. And it's not easy.
It's checking yourself. See, love is not about the next man. It's about you.
It's about you.
First. It goes to you first. And it's not about what somebody can do for you, how much they love you. It's about how much you love yourself. And check all of that. And I guarantee you, you don't have to worry about everything else comes in line with you.
With you. Everything else comes into alignment. You got it. Because, you know, we talk about you and I being single, and that's another part of it. You know, when we've gotten to that point where, you know, if it gets me out of alignment, if it costs peace, you know, I'm sorry, I don't need that.
Right.
You know, if, you know, and people jokingly say, well, you know, what are you bringing to the table? Well, look, what are you bringing to the table? You know, do you love yourself? Right. You know, yes, I want someone to love me, but the bigger question is, do you love yourself?
And see, now you done did it and brought up the one thing I didn't want to say is I'm dating. So you know, people talk to me and they'll say, hello, queen, men. And I'm looking at them and I said, you know, this is exactly how my face looked. And I'd be like, first of all, no one called the queen by queen unless they were brought to the courts. So you talking out of line, you're not a king. The king can only call me hello, queen, without being brought to the court and getting permission. So using the word queen, we got to believe that we are queens. When I say that, who we're from, we don't believe, most of us, when we do all this other stuff and we're ugly to the bone, we don't believe who we're from.
We're from.
And we
don't believe we don't believe whose we're part of. No,
that's right. We don't believe that we're part of him. And that's where the queenship comes. It's not the diva attitude, because I haven't about that. It's not that. It's not that. So I want to tell y'all that diva is not that.
That's not it. No.
Queenship is knowing whom you are, whose you are. WHOSE, right?
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's
whose you are. That's it.
And that,
and not, you know what, and I'll you know what, and I'll challenge it and take it a step further, not just recognizing whose you are, but your place in whose you are.
That's correct. That's
because, you know, many of us want to take queen and we want to say, well, okay, that means I'm the headship and I'm this, not, no.
Listen, whew, you get on another subject and
but again, that's a part, but you asked me about my definition of beauty.
Write this down. I'm gonna write this queen and kingship. We're gonna come back with this.
But again, when you recognize your place as a queen,
right?
All that other stuff doesn't matter either.
It doesn't. It's not necessary. That
you don't need it.
When you are in alignment with yourself, and then you align with whose you are, all of that stuff doesn't matter. and
Doesn't matter.
you're lined up and you're taking care of yourself, your skin lines up,
Yep.
eyesight lines up, your hair
Yep.
lines up.
Your hair lines up. Your,
It's
your
just the
daily
way
habit,
it
you
is.
begin to shift and change your daily habits.
It
And
does.
it doesn't, and when you have that alignment, it doesn't take a lot for all of those other things to, like you said, for them to fall in place.
No,
It
doesn't.
becomes easier.
Yes.
It takes still a little bit of work, but it becomes easier because now you have this mind shift to say, you know what, I can't do this because it's going to bring me out of alignment with who I am.
That's right.
I can't, well, you know what, girlfriend, I really want to go with you, but I can't go there because it's going to bring me out of alignment for who I am.
Right.
Yeah, I can't put that. Yeah, I'm going with you, but I'm not wearing that outfit because it's going to bring me out of alignment with who I. So you know what? It really is those little bitty things.
Mm-hmm.
It's really is. Girl, I wouldn't post that on social media if I were you. Come on now.
Sure.
It's the little stuff.
It's the little stuff that gets us in big trouble.
Gets us in huge trouble.
We have to go.
Much trouble. Already?
Already. See, when me and Francia get together, it's a party because I got energy. We can go on and on and on.
On and on.
On and on and on. But we have to get off. This has been exciting. I hope you all learned something. I hope you all leave your comments for us. Call us up, email us. You will have all the comments. In the comments, you'll have all our information. We would like to hear from you what you would like to hear. We might be talking again. We are going to.
Who knows?
We're talking about queens and kings.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to be talking again. That's going to be a subject. And I think I might do that after hours. We might do that after hours so that you all can really get, hear what.
Okay, well, we might need to bring a couple of kings into that conversation.
Yeah, you know what? Right, we got to get a couple. See, we single, so that'll work.
See now, okay, now wait. Now we're not trying to turn it into a date night. Now, come on now. But that might work too.
We're just gonna have a conversation. Okay?
Just a conversation. If it goes beyond that, I'm not gonna fight it.
We're aligned then.
There you go.
It's been a great show. This is Wounded to Wonderful Talk Show, keeping it real. And I'm so glad here. Thank you, Francia, the expert, faith-based life coaching. This lady right here. Get you started on your way to be free. Right here.
Right here. Right here.
Signing off. Thank you so much. We'll see you real soon.
Love you, dear.
Love you too.